Dele Alli has bravely revealed that he checked himself into rehab to kick an addiction to sleeping tablets and confront his traumatic childhood. In a heartbreaking interview with The Overlap, the Everton attacker has spoken openly about his difficulties in recent years. And speaking candidly to Gary Neville, Alli has disclosed he spent a recent spell in a rehab facility and shared details from his traumatic childhood, including the revelation that he was molested as a child by a friend of his mother's. Discussing his addiction, he said, "I got addicted to sleeping tablets. It's a problem not only I have. It's going around more than people realize in football. Now is probably the right time to tell people. It's tough to talk about it as it's quite recent, and something I've hid for a long time, and I'm scared to talk about. When I came back from Turkey, following a loan spell at Besiktas, I came back and found out I needed an operation. I was in a bad place mentally. I decided to go to a modern rehab facility that deals with addiction and mental health and trauma. I felt it was time for me. You can't be told to go there. You have to make the decision yourself. I was in a bad cycle. I was relying on things that were doing me harm. I was waking up every day, winning the fight, going into training every day, smiling, willing to show I was happy. Inside I was losing the battle, and it was time to change. When I was told I needed surgery, I could feel the feelings I had when the cycle began. So I went there for 6 weeks. Everton were amazing and supported. I will be grateful to them forever. For them to be so honest and understanding, I couldn't ask for anything more during a time I was making the biggest decision of my life, doing something I was scared to do. I'm happy I've done it." The player also discussed the stigma around rehabilitation facilities, saying, "Going into rehab is scary, but I could never have imagined how much I would get from it. I was in a bad place. A lot happened to me when I was younger that I couldn't understand, and I was doing stupid things that I blame myself for. Going there and learning about it, it was never really under my control. Understanding, learning it has helped. I let go of some bad feelings I was holding, which was slowing me down." Alli shared harrowing details of his traumatic childhood, including an incident that saw him molested by a friend of his biological mother's. "My childhood is something I haven't really spoken about that much, to be honest. I mean, I think there were a few incidents that could give you kind of a brief understanding," Alli continued. "So, at 6, I was molested by my mom's friend, who was at the house a lot. My mom was an alcoholic, and that happened at 6. I was sent to Africa to learn discipline, and then I was sent back. At 7, I started smoking. 8, I started dealing drugs. An older person told me that they wouldn't stop a kid on a bike, so I rode around with my football, and then underneath I'd have the drugs. That was 8. 11, I was hung off a bridge by a guy from the next estate, a man." But Alli shared that his life turned around in sensational fashion when he was adopted by Alan and Sally Hickford. He is extremely close with his family and is currently managed by his brother Harry. 12, I was adopted, and from then, it was like I was adopted by an amazing family. Like I said, I couldn't have asked for better people to do what they done for me. If God created people, it was them. They were amazing, and they've helped me a lot. And that was another thing. You know, when I started living with them, it was hard for me to really open up to them, because I felt within myself it was easy to get rid of me again. I tried to be the best kid I could be for them. I stayed with them from 12, and then started playing first team professionally at 16. It all sort of took off from there. In rehab, Alli shared, he was taught to consider his childhood in a different light. "They taught me in rehab. I'm not allowed to say I was a bad kid, but I got in trouble a lot. You know, with the police. I had no rules. I grew up without any rules. Like I said, my mom, she drank a lot, and I don't blame her at all for what happened. I think going to rehab really helped me understand her and the things she was going through and what she had to deal with, and it was all she knew. Me going into rehab now has helped me understand her. It was all she knew. Like, even when she let me go and I got adopted, she knew, and I knew that it was what was needed to even have a chance of living the life I wanted to live and be successful. And because it was only going one way if I stayed there, The impact of his difficult childhood led to feelings of betrayal in the player, and Alli stated that he has no interest in a relationship with either his biological mother or father. "I don't speak to my mum anymore," Alli added. "So, when I was 18, my biological mum and dad went to the newspaper and started accusing the family that adopted me of doing all this stuff, when they didn't know what they had. Like they were the ones that used to make me go and see my mum. I never wanted to go. They would always tell me, 'She's your mum. Like you should have a relationship with her.' And I think that spoke volumes. Like what they were doing. They were just doing it generally because they're amazing people. So yeah. And then my blood mum and dad went to the press, saying that these people are taking advantage of me. They want to go through my contracts. And I hadn't spoken to him for years. And I knew that wasn't my mum's decision because I know she didn't really leave Milton Keynes. Like there was no way she'd done that. After that I just felt so betrayed and let down. And hurt that I just couldn't keep the relationship with my mum. And my dad, I don't want a relationship with him either." Instead, Alli found solace not only in the close relationship he has with his adopted family, but in football, and in particular, his relationship with then Tottenham coach Pochettino. Mauricio Pochettino was the best manager, and I couldn't have asked for a better manager at the time. I was in him and his team, not just him. There was Jesus, Perez, Miguel, D'Agostino, and Tony Jimenez. They are amazing people and they're so understanding. And it wasn't like a footballer and a manager relationship. It was deeper than that. I felt he was just so understanding of the decisions I was making, and he was guiding he cared about me as a person before the football, which is what I needed at that time. And I think that's important for young players. So yeah, I think Pochettino helped a lot in that period of my career. Which is why it was tough for me when he left, because then you get new managers, and it was hard for me to let anyone in at that point, and to be open. And I felt like everything was just so fake. Under Jose Mourinho, Alli's struggles for form multiplied. The former Chelsea boss infamously described Alli as lazy in Spurs' Amazon documentary. But the player shared that a later apology for the incident was made by Mourinho, only to fail to make it into the final cut.